come back to the garage, talking Division II football with Brandon Misener. And, you know, what's interesting is you think about some of the guys that have come out of Division II football, even coaches. Brian Kelly, 2 national championships back in 02 and 03. He's now the head coach of Notre Dame. Of course, Terry Bowden took Auburn to an undefeated record, the head football coach at North Alabama, which is Division II. Let's talk about some other teams around here. Let's jump right into Pittsburgh. Got a question here from John. Wants to know if Pittsburgh State will beat Northwest Missouri this decade.
Yes, I would believe so. I believe Tim Beck's going to get that.
Tim Beck, of course, longtime offensive coordinator, takes over. Steve Rampy, who's the head coach at Blue Valley and won all the state championships, now the offensive coordinator at Pittsburgh. And, you have Pittsburgh State that was once dominant in this conference. And you look at some of these up-and-coming risers, schools like Missouri Western. Here's the school, that's on the way to Maryville from Kansas City.
Got a lot of perks.
And the Chiefs, new practice facility up there, the indoor facility. Mo West got a boost with the Chiefs facilities up there.
I think probably it's overstated by some, but I think there is definitely a boost. I heard Frank, and I think it was Frank was on with Serena, and they were talking about that, and they just instantly thought that it meant that Missouri Western was going to rise to the top of the MIAA, but that's a hard step to make now. It's not like it was even in '94 when.
But it's a draw when you recruit, you walk on there and see that.
Certainly, but the thing is that there's an arms race now, and everybody else is going to catch back up with them.
And Washburn as well. I mean, this is a team on great.
When we had Coach Jerry Partridge on last year, he was talking about his recruiting class, and with the new facilities that the Chiefs built, whatever, he pretty much said on air that they got most everybody they wanted.
Right, and I think that every coach says that. I mean, I believe that Jerry got a lot of what he wanted, but schools aren't necessarily recruiting the same kids either. Now, Jerry might have lost out some things in the past in that same way. And, like I said, I certainly think there'll be an impact. But I don't think it's going to be what everybody thinks it is. I think the most important thing in football is that head coach and the position coaches and the culture. And I think everything else is second.
Tradition's a big thing, man. Northwest being on TV on all those national title games, that's huge.
It's something, but I think that a lot of it is that, when somebody goes to Missouri Western, they want to play for Jerry Partridge. When somebody goes to Central Missouri, they want to play for Jim Sabota. I think that matters. I think that's a big deal, more so than the bells and whistles.
And Sabota's got, he's got the Northwest background. He was also at UCLA. I mean, he's got all that going for him too. And who's the biggest threat to Northwest Missouri State winning this conference this year? Is it Washburn? Is it Pitt State going to rise up? Is Missouri Western going to make that next step? Or is it going to be UCM, which is kind of a sleeping giant over in Warrensburg?
Well, I would have said Washburn. I think that they lost a running back. They got into some legal trouble. Pierre Desir was an All-American corner for them, and he's going to stay close to home. Those are 2 big losses. Now, college football is not like the NFL. In the NFL, whenever you lose, if you lose Priest Holmes in his prime, it's a big deal. In college football, you usually find a different way to be successful. You've been running it a lot. Well, now we'll throw it just a little bit more. And there was always the ability to tweak. One thing that's funny, a lot of fans will say, well, you lost XYZ quarterback. You guys aren't going to be good. Well, the longest these guys ever have a quarterback for is 4 years. College football coaches are expert at replacing people and finding new ways to do things. Having said that, they lose them late. They were going to depend on Vershawn Moore. They were going to depend on Pierre Desir, but they lose them. I think Missouri Western has a chance to be very good. I also think Central is kind of a question mark right now. But I really believe in Jim Sabota. So if there's a team that you don't know anything about them, Jim will still find a way to move the football and have a successful program. And I think that those are probably the 4 that I would say had the best shot. With Northwest and Missouri Western.
It's becoming cutthroat in the city between these teams. I mean, they're so close, and it's such good football that there's a large talent pool here of Division II players.
There's certainly, because they're fringe guys. I mean, there are a lot of fringe guys. There are a lot of guys that could go be very good players at D1, but maybe the third quarterback in Kansas City or the third best quarterback in Kansas City was number 2 on Nebraska's list. And at a late moment, Nebraska gets the guy that they wanted, so he loses his scholarship. the Kaufman kids still,
Well, the state lines don't matter as well either. Pittsburgh
Right.
State used to recruit almost extensively just Johnson County, Wyandotte County on the Kansas side. Now they're crossing over to Missouri.
Right.
Blue Springs, schools like
the
that.
teams still have, it'll mix up even more than it has because we're trending in that direction. The teams still have, areas that they recruit, even within the city and with that, Northwest Missouri heads north and gets into the north part of the city. Central Missouri heads a little different direction, gets over into Lee Summit in that area, and even over into Johnson County and Pitt. Obviously, used to own this side of the city and Blue Springs. It seems like they'd always have great players from Blue Springs.
Going back to Jeff Moreland, quarterback, national title.
They would always have that, but I think that each heads in a different direction. I think, to tell you the truth, in Kansas City, I think Central Missouri and Missouri Western are the two teams that battle the most. I think that those are the two programs that have made the biggest commitment to Kansas City, and I think that if both of those teams would be happy to have an all Kansas City roster almost.
Brandon Misener, D2football.com is where you can check him out. Plus, you can get this great magazine there right at the top. Click on there. It's a Division II football magazine covering the whole country. Brandon, you guys do a great job. Division II football is upon us, man. We're going to sink our teeth into that. Hey, and I recommend people take a Saturday and go to one of these wonderful games around here. It's unbelievable football.
Hey, head up to St. Joe on Thursday. It's an easy drive, and Pitt State is playing Missouri Western. It's a huge opening game, So if you're bored on Thursday, jonesing for some football, Chiefs fans know how to get there.
Yep.
So head up there.
It's going to be good stuff, man. Can't wait. And Brandon, really appreciate you stopping in. Coach Adam Dorrell joined us as well. Next hour, we're going to shift gears, talk a little bit of